Hello everyone, how's it going today? Thanks for checking in and welcome to the daily live stream of Anthem. I am Jeremy, streaming live on Navernax. It's Monday, April 29th, 2019, and I have a new build to test out today. I will show you quick what's what with the build, but more info will be in an actual stat vid for each build in the future. Now, I picked up the new armor pack for the Storm. I think it's definitely the best looking one. Just back up here.
Alright.
I was going to show you guys a quick tip too I just thought of while I'm here. When you're in, I'm going to do a video on appearance, aesthetics, and stuff like that eventually, I think. But just a little hack or tip that the only way I know how to get true black on the coloring is to go into, you'll see I have it already, so it's going to show up. But if you can't find it, like if you're going down, you're selecting this one, okay, we'll compare. You're going to see now when I go up, it's not as dark. So what you want to do is, I haven't been able to find a way either. Let me just show that. Maybe someone can show me a faster way or a better way, but I haven't found it. If you go to custom colors, even here, like red should be your absolute opposite in a way. Not in a way, but there's no, excuse me, there is no way to get it through here. And I haven't found any other way. So, go here. You need to have a fabric that has dual tone or coloring. Select that. Come back. It will change these. It'll give you a true black. Then you click on the true black and it'll come up under your recent colors. So now you can color with it. So that's how you abstract it basically, or the way I've found to pull it out onto the recent colors. So now you can use it. Because you'll find when you reload back in, if you've already have it on that build, you can again extract it just by clicking on it. Excuse me, but if you don't, you'll come into the coloring here and you will only be able to get this one. Okay, so I'm using the fabric dots. I like those. It kind of looks like a fiberglass. I don't even know where they show up on this one. Let's see. Oh yeah, down there. So this is my Inferno, or sorry, it used to be called Inferno. Then sorting it out for a video, I changed the name to Napalm Blast. It's just my way of differentiating a different way I see it, I guess. Obviously, this is similar to the electric ninja build I do with the interceptor, where the here, let me just check my notes here, make sure I don't go too far off course, just talking off the top of my head. Yeah, so yeah, okay, I'll just get rid of that then. Okay, so go to the loadout here. So like in the video I did of the electric ninja, last week I started out with the dash charge as my detonator. It would be the most logical choice looking at the gear, but for some reason, whether it's just now due to a patch or the way it interacts, there is a delay, it seems, if you do a detonator strike, I think it's called, or sorry, I'm not hold on here. I'll just go over there. So if you use, sorry, wrong side, over here. So this is what I was obviously using as my primer. It works well, but when you drop the primer and then you quickly try and do a detonation with, I don't know what it, yeah, spark dash it would be called. It doesn't, the interceptor just sort of stands there. A lot of times I found I had to actually walk away or fire my gun for a while, and then I would do the dash, and there are times when I want to do it immediately and it's not working. So I switched out to use the absolute zero, and it makes more sense anyway, because with each build I do recommend obviously you have 2 primers. Before the patch you were able to switch primers. I'm not sure if this patch messed that up. I know there was notes on the primer having more strength than another one, and so it would overpower it. And I kind of was using that in a way before the patch. I was able to prime it with acid or something, detonate, immediately prime with ice, detonate, prime with acid, detonate, prime, switching back and forth. Now it seems to not work as good. It's as if one of the primers has a stronger effect, and so until it wears off, the next primer doesn't actually show up. It's there, but it won't show up. Either way, using absolute zero with this build worked out far better than the spark dash, because it's sort of like I found with the Ranger, using 2 detonators for the gear and a primer on your weapon, because your primer is also your melee, turned out really well. And with this build I kind of did a similar thing where the ice is priming, and so is the sparking spear, I guess it's called. And then you have your melee to just keep. You're always in their face with this, with an interceptor, so you always have your melee to keep comboing with. You don't really need gear to do it. So anyway, I didn't mean to go into all that, but yeah, that's sort of patches up a little bit from my other video. I did talk about it, but I didn't get to go into it and look at it. So in case anyone was following it, that's some more information there. Excuse me. Okay, so back to our Napalm Blast. Now, same idea like I was saying. With this build event, originally, of course, I was using here. Now, just to point it out, it's obvious, but I don't have a lot of gear for the Storm. It is the last one on my list of that I use. I'm more kind of the artillery end of things than the elemental. I do enjoy it, but I don't know, it hasn't come up yet. It's starting to, like, as I get, flesh out the other ones more and more, this one starts to, I enjoy it when I go out and just fool around with this one. But I'm going to show you something after this about the loot that I'm almost certain of. I've had lots of debates with people online. I have looked up through Bioware's own notes and stuff to find out, because there's a lot of theories and stuff on loot, luck and whatnot, and for some people they're doing well, other people seem to be not doing well. So I don't want to step on anyone's toes, obviously. I mean, everyone, in my opinion, has a reason to feel the way they do. It's what we're going to do about it that does usually bother me when I look into things. If people are getting too absorbed into the whole cast this into the, fire idea, then I mean, you kind of should take a step back maybe and just look at what's the point. I mean, there's been a lot of games that were horrible, like I mean horrible, like that did well because people were challenging it or themselves or other people with it. You know, it's like you could say, can you get through all the bugs? And I mean, a lot of people can't. But then you'll find in certain titles like Fallout 4, there's a whole cult of people that enjoy the game because of those bugs. So, you know, I'm not saying that games should have bugs in the least, unless they look like this. But there are things with the loot in this game that remind me of some other games I've played, where I would say that this game tends to try and lean to one type of game and another type of game at the same time, and not center in on something. And I think it's kind of divided a lot of people that way. For me, I think it's important to say it's kind of everything I want. So that's an argument against a lot of what people are saying. And like I said, I don't want to step on anyone's toes. I do think that if you come from a certain hey Ralu, how are you doing today? He always comes and says hey. What was I saying there? If you come from a certain direction of games into this one, let's say, you're going to have a background, you're going to be used to how those games operated. Now, it's a maturity thing that the older you get, you look back and you see like a younger person doesn't have as much experience in something, so they're quicker to judge something. Where, you know, when you stand back and you look at it, from my perspective, that's a big long probably autobiography to actually go into with gaming, but because I had stopped for a long time. When I was younger, I was a serious addict. I mean, I would do anything I could to play at the arcade. And my experience in that, of course, has an effect on how I see games still today. So if you never grew up and never played in an arcade, popping that quarter, you know, there was a time when there weren't loonies, and just kidding. But yeah, I don't know. I'll save that for a whole other thing if I ever go that way. Anyhow, let's go into this, because if anyone has any questions or comments or anything, obviously post it down there. I'll respond back if I can see it in all the action going on, and I will, you know, further the details of whatever I've talked about. Okay, so back to the point here. We're not talking about loot yet. I went off topic. In this build, I started out obviously with the binary star, or at the time I had the living flame. This is the first legendary I got, and I'll talk about this in the loot thingy later, but I wasn't using binary star then. I was using what I'm using now. I was having a lot of fun. I only took out the build a couple times, but then I got this binary star legendary, and of course, wow, okay, I got a legendary. I've got to use that. I got to work around that and use it. So I picked that up, went out, and my damage, just the speed of how I played everything was so much slower than what was going on when I was using the flame burst. Now, I'm sure, like me, when I first started out, you always think, okay, I have to have a primer, I have to have a detonator, you know, maybe you have to have a primer if your character can detonate, and the other way around for the ranger. If your character can prime, you want to have a detonator. Outside of that, it doesn't really matter. The rest of what you're looking at should be either for you to be able to take care of business faster or take care of business faster. So combos are great, but when you compare these two, um, you're going to see that taking away the binary star, replacing it with this, making it more of a blast build, and taking Roller's Blaze, you have your now primer for fire. Instead of this one, you have your gun. This does far more damage, the flame burst, and really kicks the crap out of them compared to this. I found the binary star, even the legendary, even the way it works, I just thought it seemed lame. I mean, it would have been nice if there was something a little more aggressive looking, but to just sort of like cast out these floating, flaming orbs remind me of something from Dark Souls, and just sort of fly around. They didn't seem to really, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Just didn't, I didn't have as much control, didn't enjoy it. So anyway, we switched back to this. So we're using Flame Burst with, of course, Burning Orb. Probably one of my favorite attacks in the game. I'm a Dark Souls fan and I love throwing fireballs. I remember when I first got to throw a fireball in Dark Souls, I was like, holy smokes. I went the way of the gun in a lot of games. When I was younger, I used to play on the computer, play some fantasy, sort of Dragon Age-y kind of games, and I just went more into the machine gun rage, and so, being able to cast magic type of thing, it is kind of fun at times. I can admit, I still do enjoy the sound of a gun, though, in a game. So, we're going with the Burning Orb, and let's look at the guns quick. So we have Roller's Blaze, Legendary Assault Rifle. I'll show you guys quick here too. I have all the weapon challenges completed. That I can say I have done. It took me a while. It was painstaking, obviously being at a legendary level and then going back and using an epic gun, a whole epic build, and having to play kind of like on a hard mode again. But you know what? It was interesting because I got to use different things for people that aren't branching out and trying other combinations. And lo and behold, if you've seemed to, or it does seem that there's a connection between the loot table. Like, yes, there's the random number generator, but there is also loot tables, I believe, that you need to unlock. If I were to look it up quick here, from BioWare themselves, they say complete milestones, which I believe are the weapon and gear challenges, that unlock amazing personalization options, and that I believe are the masterwork and legendary components and inscriptions. Obviously, the main build, like I'm going to go for, is going to be working on these lower inscriptions, slowly fitting right in with each other, and the gears and everything in the build. That takes a lot of grinding, but I mean, what else is there to do? I'm not going to go into all that. That's obvious to me. So, as you can see here, I'm going to go down quick. I don't know about anyone else. Like, I mean, I just scanned through Masterwork and Legendary Guns. You can see here, I pretty much have every one of them. And, yeah. As you finish the challenges on the weapons, the odd thing that I found, and I did kind of prove it to myself through a little sort of a test, that many people are debating me on, so I'm not stating this as a fact or anything, but that it did seem that, for an example, Roller's Blaze where are we here? Was the one gun I wanted when I found out about it. I was using just the Relentless, I believe. Uh, LMG. I like the amount of ammo. Um, then I found Divine Vengeance Masterwork version and loved that because of the way it worked. And I found out about Roller's Blaze, so I wanted Roller's Blaze. So I started completing my gun challenges, weapon challenges, thinking that I kind of had a feeling based on how it had worked in the beginning, because I think using the Relentless, I finished my, three first challenges for uncommon, common, rare, and epic. I think it's 50 legendary kills, 20 elite and 10 or 50 any kills, 20 elite and 10 legendary, I believe. I'm not 100% sure because I can't look it up anymore, or I probably can actually, but anyway. Yeah, so what ended up happening was I kept getting the Avenging Herald dropping in Masterwork and nothing else after I'd completed the first gun. And then kind of other things started popping out. I was using different guns, finishing different things, and it seems to be like there's what I'd call like a loot chain sort of type of thing in the table, where or through it, where I don't want to say it in this way, but it would seem possibly that BioWare set the game up so that it would appear to have a random number generator, where it may possibly not have that. It has almost possibly, I don't even know how to describe it right, but like a loot chain. I don't know how else to say it. I'm kind of saying like when you, so let's say you finish, pretend for a second that I'm on a epic hailstorm. When you finish the 50 kills, you open up the loot table to get the Siege Breaker or the Whirlwind, but you still can't get the Masterwork version. You're only going to get the Epic version or lower. Okay, then after you complete the, let's say, 20 elite kills with the Devastator, you're going to open up the, now that will open up the, sorry, I'm trying to say that'll open up something, another weapon now below, in still the first tier of guns, uncommon to epic. When you finally complete the legendary version of, say, the Scout challenges, then you will unlock the Masterwork version of the Whirlwind, or the Masterwork version now of the Hailstorm. And it kind of seems to work that way. That's why I call it a loot chain. I kind of prove it to myself at the end of everything, where I had every weapon but Rolner's Blaze still, and there was only one weapon that I hadn't completed. It was a I can't look at it now, but it was a grenade launcher from the Colossus. Mauler, I believe. I can't stand using it. So I wasn't using it. I refused to finish the challenges, and I wanted to play, on higher levels, not stay on lower levels and use this epic version of it. That's the hard thing, I think, was that the further I got into the game, the harder it was to go back. Almost like saying they have too many challenges for when you're lower level, and they let you speed up to a higher level too fast. And then you're expected to go back and complete the lower levels in order to get the higher level loot. So I think a lot of people aren't doing that, or between me and my friend, he refused to do it. What's up, D? I'm not saying nothing. You're one of the best players I've ever seen. But I did do it. He kind of left the game. I stayed. I kept doing all the gun challenges, and lo and behold, now they are all dropping. Whenever I go out, a couple drop usually. but I believe that does go back into still another loot table that is affected by the build you're in for that. You know, if I'm always using a Colossus and I step into a Storm, a Legendary will sometimes pop out. I shouldn't use Storm as an example because I don't really at that level with Storm yet, but they're starting to come. So anyway, that's the story of the loot so far. And like always, I'm taking my Rolling Carnage because of the shield and the 80% armor, 100% shield. It's good backup. And using a wind wall. And you'll see with this, like most of my, or if not all of my components are masterwork. Sorry, I must have said earlier that it was an epic. Obviously, it's a masterwork. It says 630 with this whole thing they did with the legendary. I think it's just a bug. I don't think my meter's not even full yet. I shouldn't be a legendary till I think it's 7 or 700 or something like that. So, but anyway, we'll go through these real quick. Obviously, we're increasing elemental damage by 35%. Very important with the build. Increase fire damage by 5%. Very important. And then after applying a status effect, increases my fire damage by 50% for 10 seconds. Token of the Master. It's a storm component, so I'm just taking it basically. Obviously, the inscription, how it works, and then the fact that it has blast damage is important. I haven't found anything better to use. This is partly why I'm using the blast seal, whatever it's called there. Yeah, the flame burst over the binary star it really brings this component out more. I'm using this one primarily because I don't have any other storm components to pull from, but it does increase the gear recharge rate by 50%. I don't like using anything that increases something at the cost of something. I'd rather learn how to play with the way it is and use that slot for something that will get me more damage. Okay. And then increasing the combo chains with a storm I found to be the most useful. One of the most useful. I'm not entirely sure how it works yet, or it seems to have changed or something, so I'm still trying to figure that out, because there's times where I'm chaining a combo based on with the exact same primer, and then other times, so someone can shed any light on that. And then this one here, don't use for the main inscription. That I don't have anything electric on the build, but the defeating an enemy increases elemental damage by 40%. I do. So I think that covers everything. So let's look at quick. Sometimes I can't open this menu, but there we go. Okay, so what I was going to go and look at quick, just to show you here, all weapons are done. And the way these are done up, this is what BioWare is probably referring to complete milestones, okay? They literally feel like it, especially if you're a legendary build and you have to go back and do this. But you'll see here, I'm sure most people have looked at this. It seemed obvious to me when I started out based on other games I've played. So, but in your first challenge where you're doing the 50 enemies, you're unlocking the ability to craft the anvil at its lowest level. That's not all you're doing though. Okay, you're also unlocking a loot table when you complete it. If you don't complete it, you don't unlock the loot table. And the way the loot chain would work, for example, is that if you're trying to get the masterwork version of, say, the anvil, and you only use the anvil, you will never get it. So that's a way that BioWare maybe made it to try and influence the idea to use every javelin, try them all out, because in a way they unlock things for each other, including the weapons. They cross unlock or whatever. I don't know the right way to say it. So anyway, you can see that, and that was something I tested with the weapons right away and found it proved to be true. So for anyone that is making the argument that it is just a random number generator and there is no other way to influence your loot, just take a look at why would you. To me, it's like you make a game, the story's not expansive, it's not huge, but it's just something to give relevance to the world that you're playing in. The real progression in the game is finishing these challenges, because the challenges do something. When you go back and you take a weapon you've never used before that has an inscription on it, some inscriptions lend themselves to your other weapon or to the entire javelin, and you'll find that you'd be quite surprised how some of them work. Using all the guns, I actually found every single gun is useful, putting it in the right way. So yeah, there is a reason to go back and do it. In the end, it pays off. Now, as far as challenges go, I am like anyone else. I get caught up in just wanting to play and I ignore these. But as this story goes, it's recommended you do not ignore them because it will change everything, in my opinion. I could show you for an example. I'm not going to do it right now, but I'm going to show my Ranger double detonator, like the ultra combo build. I'm doing up an actual build video with stats, numbers, so on, to show how to put that together and how it works. But you'll see here, out of all of the javelins, I have, if you're looking at the list beside, I started out with interceptor, so I completed a lot of them. And the Ranger I completed the most. Storm the least, and then the Colossus fits in the middle there. When I go out with the Ranger, I get drops for masterwork gear like crazy, and 2 to 4 legendaries most days. Now they are usually, the legendaries are usually a weapon, but the odd time it is a component, and I believe, like I'm saying, it is still connected to this. If I complete all of these, I will start to see them drop far more often instead of the masterwork version, because I believe that the tiers work that way. When I was showing you from this side of it, what you're going to craft because of it is connected to what the loot table is. So in a way, when you get to the point like what we're looking at right now with the Ranger, you'll see all I have left are the masterwork version or the legendary version. The way they set the game up, I believe, though, is that, let's say when I finish this cold, the very bottom one, cold-blooded, I'll unlock a loot table for the legendary version of something else. It could be even on another javelin. You see, if you built the game this way, crossing the loot over and over like that enough, and then try and suggest that you need to use all the javelins, and that, you know, you have these milestones and so on and so forth, it kind of all groups together to say, you know, you have to complete all your challenges to start getting all the loot. I'll leave the rest of it, you know, up to you to decide what you want to do with the information, but So what I was going to just show you while we're here quick too is that with the storm, you'll see I really don't have a lot completed, right? And when I go out with the storm, if I keep using the same gear, it's going to just stay that way. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to take the storm out, which I normally wouldn't do, but I'm going to take the storm out. I'm going to go into free play. We'll see how far if I take it through everything in the daily challenges, but take it out. We'll see what comes in free play with this build and with what I have completed so far. My guess is that I will get a legendary today. I'm not sure if it'll be a component, but there's a good chance it will be. I completed, I believe, the fireballs the other day. And it should, let's check. Yeah, all these won't have anything because they fixed this. Used to be all over the place. Now it's in order. So it will open something up, but you never know. You're still in an R and GSys, a random number generator, is still occurring. And in more ways than just one random number generator for each piece of loot. It's coming from a couple different angles in order to open up the ability to get like a great inscription on the loot, and that's where your luck will come in. The suggestion and the idea of anyone designing something and adding something to it at this level and then suggesting the idea that it has no effect in the game or with anything else for that matter, it's like someone designing something, giving you all the pieces with the instructions, and you deciding that the instructions weren't written right. That's possible, but they probably are written for a reason. And if you stand back and just try and absorb or learn what the reason is, you will actually learn something and get to enjoy it. If you don't, you know, it's like it's kind of this little bit problem of comparing everything. People that are comparing everything to everything, where's the diversity in that? Where's the differences in anything? If everything was exactly the same, I mean, what would be the point? Like, there's absolutely no point in that. Absolutely no point in that. You have what you have that you enjoy that's different, so do that for what that is, and do what something is for what it is. It's that simple. I'm not sure. I mean, when you reflect on it to how people will react to something they didn't design, they didn't create, yet they're making an argument that that company or something, you know, it's sort of like, you know, most artists do the work they do for the passion they have. Has nothing to do with the money at all. They need money to live with, and most artists suffer for that reason because they actually feel guilty taking your money to share their art with you because it's they're that passionate about it. So when you criticize an artist on what they did, instead of just sort of appreciating what you have from it, I think it's just way off base. But that's just me. I mean, it seems to be the norm out there, so I don't really fit in that way. But if you're someone like me, you're positive, you're happy, you like to enjoy something, and you think this game is awesome. For me, I quite honestly waited for this game all my life. I mean, there'll be better things to come for sure, but it's about time. Like, I can go way back playing Space Harrier and stuff, dreaming about something like this game. So for me, it's sort of, you know, it's great. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, let's just get right into it. I'm talking for almost 40 minutes now. I'm sure it's been very interesting. Now we want to see some action. So we'll go into free play. I'm going to pick, I already picked these out earlier before I started. Obviously fire, because it's a Napalm Blast. And shield, because I don't want to die. and the combo sigil. For this build, I haven't used it a lot, so to go, I should be using this over that or whatever, I couldn't really say off the top. I picked these because they make the most sense to me with how I play and whether or not I actually feel like I need to speed up the recharge on my gear or whatever. In this case, the build's mostly fire. I definitely want to have a fire sigil on there. The damage change is pretty substantial, which I will show in the build videos when they come out. You may look at it and think just 30% change, but hold on here. But the fire stacks applied to enemies by 10% of base stacks and fire resistance by 30%. So fire resistance is the big one. I've gone out with just the ice, lightning, and fire sigil simply for the resistance. If you're fighting the Dominion, you're by yourself in Grandmaster 3 and you have like 4 or 5 storms firing on you at once, you're going to need resistance more than you're going to do damage because you need to survive in order to even get a kill. So let's get back on track. Take that. Now I have to make the choice. What am I here? We're 630. Oh. I'm going to go on Grandmaster 2. I kind of lowered the difficulty setting for doing the daily event because I don't want it to take forever. And I'm currently working on certain people to guest with me and do it as well. But until that all unfolds, where, we'll do Grandmaster 3 indefinitely, or definitely. Yeah, and I'm going to do a series of vids on builds for the game. How the loadout works together, tactics with the build, how to execute the combos, etc. And yes, it's going to have stats, numbers. I've been spending time out there writing numbers down, and there's a lot of things to compare, so I'm not finished in the least. Between like just a simple thing like when you have a grenade hitting the ground, you're getting different damages whether the grenade hits the ground, the character, a weak spot, and we'll go over all that eventually and how to maximize on your damage. It's like a lot of things where you're going to find a grenade hitting a person does not do the same as hitting the ground. But we'll go into that when I do the build videos. Thinking too about, I said it, I'm going to say it in most of the videos just to get it out there, to get some feedback on it, but
here we go, freelancer. I'll update you when I find a situation that needs your talents.
Okay, sounds good.
but sort of working on instructions on team building loadouts. Not sure if anyone's interested in it, but if you are, give me some feedback. How to maximize the team's damage output. Kind of so far what I've noticed offhand, I can just say quickly, is if you're on a team, don't take fire and ice. That's all. And I suggest fire over ice. Ice is great if you're playing more of a defensive and you can't handle the amount of fight coming at you. But if you can, fire's going to get you a lot further than ice. Now, with all that said, say hi to Napalm Blast. Let's go see what this guy's up to. That guy's staying down for a while now. I'm coming to the rescue. Where's this? Oh my goodness. Way up there. If you're watching, you got any advice for me with the storm, any recommendations, please give them to me. It's not the build I use often. I haven't had much of a problem with the build, but other than jumping, apparently. I like that teleport. It's cool. Yay me. Okay. Wow, there's a lot of action out here today. What's up? Nothing's up. He's probably AFK. You'll see with this, I literally can't use all my fireballs without adding any gear speed to the build. No, they nerfed this. It's hardly doing anything now. Maybe it's just because it's not powerful enough yet. And in that case, when I go into a harder level and I gotta use a weaker gear, just don't rely on it. Still take it though, because you're gonna get... With gear, you just need to complete events. You don't need to get any kills. So as long as you take it, get your 8 of 8, then 10, then 12 events, or whatever it is. Can't tell off the top of my head. Okay. Seriously though, where are the events? What's going on here? No, I'm not stopping to kill anything unless it's got a yellow target taking me there. I'm a busy javelin, I don't have time for that. What's wrong with you guys? Hey, whoa. See, now these enemies, can't tell you how many times I've gotten a legendary. I don't usually spend my time killing them. Some sort of an odd video game morale. But there's no real harm done. Check over here for our interesting. Just random ore. An event does not come up soon. I'm going to start to think there's something wrong.
Portals has just got word of a scar camp in this area. It's posted to the Enclave now. Scars have moved in. We need to move them out. That's one. Keep going.
Prime that gun again. Get out of the way. Bring our shield back up. Just only have to hit it one more time now. And no, we're gonna die. Yeah, this storm is not ready for the Grandmaster 2. We will survive though. Somehow. Jeez. Talk about being underpowered. Like seriously underpowered. This is Grandmaster 2. I'm using Legendary Masterwork. Let's grab that health. Okay.
Alright, there's one more. That's done. Nice work. We need to deal with these scars before anything else.
Jeez. Hard to tell who's primed too these days. It doesn't hardly ever show you, even though they are. Or they're just not even getting primed. Gotta love that timer kicking in. Find the next event. It is really scarce. The scars are scarce. Scarce. I can't believe this. The only theory I have when you can't find an event, if it's not the game not working properly, it's probably that someone else has just been around. This gun is doing more damage with the fire consumable than anything else I have. And it's over prime. Perfect. Easy peasy. Oh boy. Sometimes you come out of these tubes or tunnels and the ability to control your javelin is gone, just floats off. I've had him come out of there completely sideways, going right into the wall. Oh, we got a take. Which one do we have? Oh, and the gun. Okay. Started off right. Down you go. You see, still don't have the masterwork or legendary, I believe, and like I was saying in the beginning, I also don't have the gear challenges, so I think it's theory's holding up. So I've just about flown all through the center region of the map. I only found one event. Go back. I'm gonna go. We'll go up to where there's more scars, see if something pops up closer to Fort Tarsus. Bloop. Watch this when you come out if you're facing. Sometimes it goes funny. No, no. It worked. Wow, this is incredible. It's been a half an hour in free play, and we're just finding our second event.
Cortaz has just got word of a Scar camp in this area. It's posted to the Enclave now.
Same mission.
Scars are nesting here. We can't let that hold. That's one. Keep going.
Jeez. It's so different than when I'm using my Ranger or something. Like on Grandmaster 2, I have my ass handed to me. Gotta draw them out. Missing the gun. What the heck? Fine then. So frustrated playing with these builds. I don't know how anyone does it. It's just so weak. I mean, I guess it's doable. It's just the amount of time it takes and how patient you have to be. We're gonna outsmart this. Why am I not getting combos on this? See that the flame goes out instantly. Something's not working out. Really annoying when that happens. Something's definitely wrong. Come on. Like my gun is kicking the crap out of everything, but my gear is doing absolutely nothing right now.
There's one more.
Watch this. It hardly does anything.
That's done. Nice work. The scars will pose a threat if we don't clear the area.
And we are out of ammo. We were out of ammo.
They're retreating. You did it. I'll inform the fort of our success.
Okay then. You open it. Masterwork. Alright, we got one. We have one. Alright. Where were we going before? South. That's a target for just a legendary enemy. Yeah. Get out of the way! They're protecting the precious legendary. Thank you. Yeah, you never seen a storm on the ground, eh? The fire makes them fly. Was this not an event? No, it's just a legendary, right? What's up, Too Foolish? Cool name. sure if he's waiting for me to go somewhere or what. One more event. Let's have it. Let's do this. I don't want to be in this free play for any longer than an hour. It's so dead. There's something definitely wrong, whether it's the server or we have it on video. I have flown over like 60% of the map with only 2 events popping up. Let's take a look at this quick. Oh, I need weak point kills. I am seriously thinking about starting over if it's going to be this frickin' lame. I can't believe that full fireball on Grandmaster 2 and it's barely doing anything to these guys. It's useless. It's gonna get me killed. I'm literally gonna have to quit and start over. It's not giving me any events. Frick's sakes. It's the only thing I can say about the game that really annoys the crap out of me, but it's in almost every online service game I find. It's the, I don't know, amount of information needing across the servers and Wi-Fi and unbelievable. I don't know where else I could go to find. You guys are all excited over there, but it's not an event. This is unbelievable. Oh boy.
Agent. Tacit has asked for our help.
Oh, come on.
Reported a lost agent in this area, starting a search for their link.
You guys literally just appear there as I'm flying away.
We've got scars. Watch yourself. The agent. They're gone. I'll unlock their link and recover what I can for Corvus.
I have a feeling it is not going to go well.
Keep them back. We can't afford for them to interfere. There's a gate. Get ready.
I'm almost 100% sure that the fireball is supposed to work a lot better than it is right now. When it hits. Oh my goodness.
They're getting awfully close. Push them back.
Seriously?
Well done. You're halfway there.
All of a sudden in this game you have to literally be like on the guy? Oh well, we're done with this soon. Oh yeah, we gotta have weak points.
Very close now. Wait, you need to stay in range.
Come on. Popping helmets.
Keep them back. We can't afford for them to interfere.
Alright, I need some headshots. Come on, stop moving around. Oh yeah, we're doing this stuff. I thought it was
There
done.
we are. Stay close now.
So hard to get a headshot with a fire priming gun. It literally burns the guy before I get the headshot in.
Keep that area clear. We don't want the interference.
I am. Give me your helmet. What?
The agent managed to hide intel nearby. They wanted it returned to Corvus. We can see that done. They're falling back. Careful, they may be trying to regroup.
One,
Corvus intel. We need to find the rest.
two,
Got more trouble headed our way.
guaranteed. How did you all come out of a portal and end up all over the place? Exactly.
Wait, Scar's got hold of the intel. We need to get it back.
Nice. of your tanks. Oh my goodness. Sounds like he's using a water gun.
That scar down, the swings will be at a loss.
I believe we are playing
Corvus's agent is gone, but their
Grandmaster
work is safe.
2.
The fort's a little safer, thanks to you.
Something isn't quite working right though. Or something. My fireball's hardly doing any damage. Oh, we just finished this, so that's good. See you later, Too Foolish. We'll give him the old... We're done. Alright, well we got one masterwork. Not the greatest. But... we were expecting that. We don't need that. We don't need any of these. We'll hold on to... The only thing I usually check are the support. Unless it's a legendary at this point. For me, anyway. I'm gonna hold on to that one. I have tried it doing builds where you take the next one down, you know, masterwork version of this, and then this one, so you're getting a total of like 70% blast damage increase. At the cost of being far weaker. It works sometimes. Apologize, I gotta go through an extra load screen. I forgot to check what's next. I think it's just a legendary contract, but not sure. All right. check our dailies again. Yeah, one legendary contract, one stronghold. Nice, we can finish this up. What have we got? I'll take that. Grab our fire. What are we going to do this time? I did not find... Like, my best option was to just shoot the gun. It was doing more damage than a combo, which is very unusual. Alright, combo, fire. Does anyone know what Viralis TV said? I don't speak Spanish. I think that's Spanish. I definitely understand good day A. What was I doing here? Okay, combo, fire, and shield. For this squishy storm. I was not doing too well in free play, so let's just hope that this team is good. This is great, then KS. What is... Okay. This is great. I agree. I don't know what KS means.
Understood. I'm on it.
Hello, team. Ah, you have the old one. Popcorn tea. I love the name. I'm stuck with my serious band name from back when I used to use YouTube for, when I used to have a band, I used my band name that I had made up for my PlayStation name. So that's what I go by, which isn't, of course, Nabernax. That's the channel I use.
Balloons must be around here somewhere.
Ah, you're welcome.
This area is known for dangerous wildlife. You must handle this.
Alright, let's get over top of this. Like the storm should be.
Fantastic. Another one for you. be sufficient. Yes, I think that should be it. This is going very well, and I have more work for you today. Our research shows a possible cache of Arcanist documents. It's very exciting. Let's go. See what I can do.
Oh, I see. You were telling me what Veralis said. Okay, I'm sorry. I did ask. This is great. Thanks. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad you liked it.
Yes, stay right here. The vault will open with the right script frequencies. No tuning points needed. Lucky. Okay.
Let's light it up. That's more like it. See, there was something wrong in free play there. I knew the fireball did more damage than that.
The animals around here are notorious for attacking anything on sight. Understood.
That's pretty lame.
Getting close, just a little more. Indispensable. Some of my colleagues' equipment has stopped responding. I'll fill you in once you're in the area. Okay.
I think I like this armor set better than any other armor set in the game so far. I wish it wasn't on the Storm. But good for all the Storm lovers out there, for sure. It'll actually probably make me use the Storm more. Kind of wish they'd come out with just a bit more, like, I mean, the new, what's it called? Spike spear or whatever for the interceptor. Looks really cool. Just needs to be a bit more masculine looking for me. Just a bit more.
Here we are. We'll need that equipment repaired. Also,
I know that sounds weird,
like,
but to me it's just... Oh boy.
Well done. I have no idea how I would manage that.
I always read someone saying, like, why would you use a female character to some guy, you know, and he's like, oh, I like looking at her ass. I don't really get that. I get it, but, I mean, it's a game. I don't know. I am, I guess, traditional, old-fashioned that way. Alright, time to finish. There's more of them, I think, right?
One down.
Oh, no?
Well. There, you see? With the signal transmitting, always expect wildlife to appear. Quickly done. That should be enough.
Will do.
Flying display of skill against overwhelming odds. Finished. Excellent work. So much to study for what we did today. So much. Thank you.
Gotta get those challenges done to get some legendaries. Right on, that went well. Everything worked properly. No rubber banding. Yeah, except we're not going to get to see the victory screen. Whenever I make that little sound, it's not going to work. Okay, we don't need that. We have that. Whoops. We definitely don't need any guns. Nah. No. Nope. Nope. I say it every video, but until it gets out there. They need to switch this around so that we're selecting what we want to keep, not what we want to get rid of. Select what you keep and leave. Let the rest go into the trash or into your ember collection. I don't remember which stronghold I have to do, so I'm just going to check quickly. Acid lowers enemy resistances and makes them more vulnerable to damage and sets them up for a combo. And so far in my stats recording, acid is getting the best combo damage. It's not, I haven't confirmed that on everything, but on 2 things so far, it's true. Alright, 15 minutes till 2 hours. See if we can do this in 15 minutes. Any stronghold we want to do. I see we have 1 person watching. 1 is good enough for me. Is there a stronghold that you want me to play? I have to pick one. So, if you're watching and you want to see me get my ass kicked in a stronghold, because I rarely use a storm, give me any advice for the storm you have. Let's see. Sunken. I gotta think about this because the way I haven't tried the sunken with a storm yet. Why not? Only we're gonna drop this to 1 because I'm just not. This storm just isn't doing very well. And we want to get through it. So let's take the same thing as before. We're going to take fire. We're going to take combo. Thinking maybe I'll take assault this time with the fire, because my assault gun's definitely doing more damage than anything else, which is very strange to me. It's not how it works with my other builds. What else do we want? Let's just see this here. Fire. We'll go fire, combo. And assault rifle. I'm debating on shield. But we're on Grandmaster 1. We'll just fly through this, let's hope. We'll just have fun. Lots and lots of fun. Woo! Alright. We're all good to go. Let's do it. Let's do it. If you're just catching this here, we're using the Anthem Blast Storm that I will do a build video on eventually. I need to upgrade it still a little. Other videos will come out before that on builds of ones that I've almost, if not completed. And I do have the stats, the numbers, and stuff like that to go with it. So I'm still just putting it together. It's taken a lot out in the field, getting all the numbers. Some of the damage output is affected by quite a few things, obviously, so in order to give accurate numbers, I have to compare it against a lot of things. Oh, we're showing up in the middle of it. I did not think this was supposed to happen anymore. No, I'm not in the middle of it. Why am I? That is so weird. Always start down here. Okay. Just threw me for a loop for a minute. Now when you get to this level, you don't need to start the flight suppression thing right away. You can kill everything first. Just don't go to the center. Someone always goes to the center though. Whoops, sorry. That was, oh yeah, I came in late, I think. That was way too fast. Well, why isn't this working? Man, that was weird. For a second, it didn't show anything.
Whoa! This room, this whole place is active. The amount of shaper energy is crazy. The Dominion set off one of Harkin's experiments.
The Maverick.
the right order.
Let's see if everyone knows how to do this. I do. Just...
The conduit tube's open. Keep heading up to the surface. Intensifying. Possible cataclysm forming close by.
What's going on with these colored tubes?
Shaper, submerge them to enter them in air.
Submerge? It's a floor.
Just make them go down and don't let them come back up.
I'll try this at home.
Science.
You just hover above them. Just little tips for those that don't play as much. Sorry, I had to shut my door there. It was blowing open for some reason. I didn't even have the window open.
These experiments, the monsters, what was Harkin playing at? They've been trapped down here a long time. What if we'd left it alone? Guess it doesn't really matter now.
Oh. That's what I always yell when I'm getting my ass handed to me.
solid effort. Now continue toward the surface.
Bloop, 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 bloop. Dun, 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 dun.
What the hell was that? Conjure's the only way out again. You need to match the symbols to open the tube.
Okay, that was on the right time. Thank you. Literally hit it far before it got there. I'm gonna need a new controller. No good against a firestorm. Take care of these guys. Up, up, and away. Whoa. Wrong direction. Humongous rooms. I love it. Get this guy's attention off of him. Gotta keep them off the guy doing the
Special here.
Oh, you can't go through there. What? Alright, whoever sees that. Oh, you can go through that part. BioWare, you left a window open with no way through. another masterwork. No. No. How come no one else is getting this? To the finale. Excuse me. Let's see how the storm does against the unfathomable. I think it's gonna be easy.
Whoa! Nice to meet you, pal. Been hearing good things.
We'll make friends with it.
Nah, always worth a shot.
Trusty legendary Rauner's Blaze here, just chewing through anything. Literally, look at his damage.
The Fury is creating gates. More enemies incoming.
No problem. Gotta do better than that. Alright, let's drop this on him while he's weak. Haha. Oh, what a good idea.
This is serious.
I forgot about the wind wall.
Keep it up.
We're out of ammo finally. Okay. Oh. Let's help a friend in need. Yeah, take that. Let me boost it up 3 times for you. Oh boy. We're not worried. Ha ha. Alright. Ugly son of a bitch. Oh shit. Damn it. This is the part he just goes non-stop with that crap.
It's vulnerable. Get in there. Great job, Freelancer. Who knows what would have happened if that thing had gotten free?
I feel like I need to know more about this, Dr. Harkin.
But at the same
Another
time,
masterwork.
I feel like I know more than enough. Check in with me in Tarsus later if you'd like.
Give him a good old patty whack. Big money, big money. GG guys. Well, I think that's it. We did all our daily events. Got her done. Got to check out that storm. I'll improve it slowly, or we will over time. Thanks for checking in. Like the banner says, smash like to keep me alive, literally. Check the description below for more information. For some reason you can see here I've managed to make myself invisible at load screens. It's a legendary effect that I'm not going to give away the secret yet, but it's very handy when you're at this point in the mission. We scored big today. We got compounds and weapon parts. We can add them to our humongous stash we haven't had to tap into yet. Elemental blade, nope. Aha! We have you in a legendary and we're no good. Well, it's more embers. More embers for me. Alright everybody, thanks for tuning in. If you check this out on YouTube, smash like, subscribe, support the channel. We're growing. Keep me alive. And tune in tomorrow for another episode of our daily events. And stay tuned for some videos coming up on builds. Like I said earlier, I'm still working on them. They take a lot of work. I don't want to sound foolish when I do them. I want to give enough info and make it sure it's accurate. I kind of started it earlier, to be honest, and it didn't work out because the values have changed, and even now I can't do comparative values between what's written and what pops up on screen, and there's the rumor flying around that what's popping up on screen isn't accurate to what damage is actually being done. So I might just keep pushing the tests. I don't know. I mean, I guess the thing for me would be with feedback, I would know if people wanted to just know what those were right away, or whether or not they wanted to make sure it was tested against things. The only way I can honestly test it is to use enough variables against the same thing and draw the numbers out, and that way I know sort of, you know, if I'm using this gun with this javelin with this component, it's the variation of damage is this much different than with that gun and that javelin or that component. The percentages, I mean, I would love to see someone do the math. I've tried, you know, reverse engineering my final numbers down to what the gun is saying, and I'm not getting any consistency. So for that reason alone, I will probably give the numbers that the screen is showing in case someone's not catching them as they go by. It's a little easier if you shoot the vids and you can pause it or something like that. But again, it takes a little bit of work because there's major differences in how certain attacks hit and whether you're hitting a weak point or not hitting a weak point on a primer or not primed, so on and so forth. So stay tuned for those to come out. Thanks for watching today, and have yourself a great evening.